Alright, the next process I'm going to take you through is what's called a trunnion upgrade. Basically what the trunnion is the fulcrum or the pivot point for my rocker arm. On the left here I have a stock trunnion. What happens is these end caps can actually come loose at higher RPM and higher lift camshafts like what I'm putting in. Basically there's a bunch of little needle bearings inside there, and if you lose that end cap, all the needle bearings go inside your engine. Basically grenades it. On the right here I have an upgraded version where there is a snap ring holding, so it's a press fit and then there's a snap ring holding it in too, so it's kind of just a more beefy upgraded system. So I'm going to install this on my 16 rocker arms. I'm just going to take you through the process of one. It's the same process for every single one of them. But the first step is to press out the old bearing caps. To do that, I'm using what's called an arbor press. So this arbor press is basically a hand-operated hydraulic press, but it's not hydraulic. So this is not giving you quite the mechanical advantage that those ones have, but you don't need a ton for this. So for this, there is a flat side on this rocker arm. This flat side I'm going to put down on a larger socket that I have, which is going to allow that bearing cap to go through. On the top one I need a smaller socket that is going to fit inside of the actual rocker arm assembly. And now what I need to do is to get everything lined up here. And then once I get it all lined up straight, it actually takes quite a bit of pressure, so I'm going to have to horse on this pretty good, and then you're going to hear it come loose and everything's going to come crashing down. So there, I've pressed the first bearing cap down. So here what we have is the trunnion, so that's the centerpiece. That's kind of the pivot point of the fulcrum. Here are those bearing caps, and then here are all those little needle bearings I was talking about. If those get inside your engine, that's no good. So that's why I'm replacing these, so I don't end up having that issue. Now to put one new cap in to start with. The directions say with this very specifically, make sure that the writing on the cap is out, which I am making sure of, so there's only writing on one side, so making sure that's facing the outside of the rocker arm. So I need to press just one of these in for right now. So I've got that first one pressed in. These are also a needle bearing design, so you don't want to lose any of those needles at all. If you do, it's basically junk, because if you're missing one, what it's going to do is cause a bunch of slop, and it's going to cause everything else to wear down much faster. I can now drop the new trunnion into that bottom cap. And then they give me a couple of washers for assembly. So here, this bottom washer goes around the bottom of the new trunnion. I can now take a cap, again making sure that the writing is facing outwards. Press that down until it reaches the trunnion. That's just getting it started. Then I have to take the other assembly washer, which will help push the trunnion, or will push the cap past the trunnion, and then down to the rocker arm body. Press that down till you can't anymore. Stuff's falling in my garage. So after that, this one is in. It should have some side-to-side play. If you listen very carefully, you can hear it. And it should move freely going around too, which it does. My final step for this is to put my snap rings onto the end of these trunnions. So for this, you do need a snap ring pliers. Make sure you're being very careful with these, because if you're not careful, the snap rings can go flying. So you just need to expand the snap ring to get over the groove. Put it in place and just kind of check around to make sure that it's in the groove the whole way. Everything looks even. That one looks pretty good. Now I will move to the other side. So if you heard that last one, you can kind of hear it snap into place. So that one lets you know that, hey, I'm in. Again, you shouldn't be able to pull on these and they come off by hand. You should only need the tool to get these off. And then once you're done, again, it should move freely like it is doing. So in this case, I am done with this one. So now I've got 3 down and I've got another 13 to go.